we've got to talk about Frank Warren joining DAZN. Now, this is one that's been rumoured and linked with for a long while now. I think it's probably over a year since the first rumours started spreading of this one, but confirmed yesterday that Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions have signed an exclusive deal with DAZN to join them from April 2025. So all their shows, along with the Riyadh season shows, of course, will now be broadcast not on TNT Sports, formerly BT Sport, but on DAZN. Broke pretty late last night, Josh. What did you make of it when you first saw the news?
I was always a bit shocked. I was quite shocked by it all. Obviously, we saw the talks start about a couple months back, but Frank was very quick to shut them down. And then, obviously, you notice with Riyadh season getting more involved, you see a lot more of shared promotion on shows. You know, you see TNT, Sky, and DAZN all picking up Joshua Dubois, and same with many other Riyadh season cards. But it's still something that came as quite a big shock. Obviously, we knew the deal was expiring, but everything seems quite happy with TNT and Queensberry. So definitely shocking, but I think it is a good move. I think it's something that's very interesting. I'm going to see how it works with having, obviously, Matchroom and Queensberry, the two biggest rivaling promoters in the UK, under the same broadcaster. So I think it definitely makes for exciting times ahead for boxing fans.
Yeah, we'll get our teeth into that a little bit more in just a second. But first, we've got to get the poll out. And that's, will Frank Warren and Queensberry joining DAZN make you more likely to offer you some money to subscribe to DAZN? Simple yes or no answer this week. I know a few of you in the chat, and obviously many of us on the team are subscribers to DAZN, but with having the Frank Warren and Queensberry shows, will you be more likely to subscribe to that? So yeah, I'll get into this a little bit, and I think it's great for the DAZN app. Obviously, they've all got a huge variety of boxing and sport as well in general on the app already. But to add the shows that Queensberry and Frank Warren are bringing to the app is a really big coup for them, to be honest. The main question that now comes up is in terms of the crossover. Is there going to be shows on the same night as each other from the likes of Eddie Hearn, even GBM with Izzy Asifa? I know Mr. Hart had the pleasure of spending his Sunday afternoon with just yesterday. So there's going to be a lot of shows. Eddie Hearn's already promised there's going to be more shows in the UK in 2025. And with the amount of fighters that Frank Warren has got on his books, you would expect him to invest pretty heavily in the UK market as well. So a lot of UK shows you would expect to be coming in 2025, with the majority of them going to be on the DAZN app. Right then, I'll go to the chat for the first time. To Romani Mode XD, you can open this one up. The two Joshes might not even bother watching. Now, I've got something to say to that. We may not have Denny Flexen and Eamon Khan today, but we're going to offer you plenty and plenty of boxing talk today. An hour of boxing talk on SO Live, as usual. Nothing different there. Danny Trink says, Danny insult in the first 5 seconds. What did you expect? He's not made it to the live this afternoon, and there's got to be some repercussions for that. Peter Baird, he says, yeah, we all remember Frank sticking up the boot of DAZN, and I'd like to have been in that meeting when he was explaining those comments to DAZN's CEOs. We're going to get into that just now, Josh. I mean, yeah, we all remember those days when he was calling it Dead Zone. As we've said, he was referring it to as the app. It's obviously grown a huge amount since then. DAZN has. I mentioned all the sports and all the promoters that are now going over there, all the massive Riyadh season shows that are on DAZN as well. But I imagine, Frank Warren, we were regretting some of those words right now.
I think that the way I saw it put best, Sam Jones on Twitter said, the way you think yesterday isn't the way that you're going to think today. And over time, you see things change. And one of the things that has changed is the way that a lot of news gets spread. The times change in social media, and apps are a lot more used now, whereas compared to usual TV. So you're going to see a lot of increase in DAZN. And plus, DAZN is a lot more targeted to those sports fans. You can see how much they've got on there. It started off as just a boxing platform, and now you see plenty of different sports. And then you can see that with all the boxing going on there. And, you know, it's not just Izzy Asif and GBM that are on there. You can see Johnny Clark and Top Tier also benefiting from DAZN. So yeah, while it was addressed as the app, that was before it was big. And when Eddie Hearn made that transition to DAZN, it was seen as a gamble, it was seen as a risk, it was seen as something that wasn't great, especially splitting from Sky, who held such a big role in British boxing at the time with some of the fights that they had on there and the platform that it's got. But maybe I think the difference is what you got to remember is that Frank's a lot older compared to Eddie. Eddie's going to understand that evolution with social media and the internet, how that all works. And while at the time he might have not seen, I guess you could say, a successful start, he could see the vision. Did he imagine it to be as what successful it is now? Not at all. But he definitely saw a future with them, and it's a future that other people want to capitalize on now, and that's why you're going to see DAZN become the home of obviously another thing that we've not mentioned yet, but Riyadh season and DAZN having the exclusive rights for that as well. So you can see that it is certainly a big playmaker now, and I guess you could say it is going to be the playmaker for British boxing in terms of broadcasters. It holds a lot more than what TNT are going to hold. As it stands, TNT is still going to be involved in boxing once Frank Warren and Queensberry leave them. Obviously, we know that there's talks of Sky and Boxer, their deal coming to an end. We're not too sure what's happening there. But it's definitely an interesting time to see what's going on if you're one of these people that's interested in broadcasters. And I think a good thing with this is that I don't think we'll see a lot of clashes of shows anymore. I think seeing so many UK promoters come under the same roof, we've seen it recently with GBM and Matchroom working together, sharing an arena, and then we could see the way that they included Matchroom's ceremonial weigh-in during GBM show. Could we possibly see that with Frank Warren and Eddie next year once they start working together? There's a lot of questions, but a very exciting time and something that we've not seen before in boxing. So I'd definitely say it's exciting times ahead.
Yeah, thanks for that, Josh. We'll go quickly back to the chat and to Simon Stevens. Says, afternoon, lads. Afternoon, Simon. For all boxing fans, the key is how much the DAZN subscription will be going up. Yeah, you would expect the fee paid to DAZN to go up with there being more content from the subscription. How much of that will be as part of the subscription and how much will be pay-per-view remains to be seen, but we've seen the prices go up over the last year or so, and quite possibly when Mr. Warren and Queensberry join in April, there may be another price rise. So we'll have to wait and see about that one. But yeah, I certainly agree that from a fan's point of view, if the price does go up, then there's very much a decision to be made. DB Cooper 1 in the chat once again. He sees Mr. Flexen and Mr. Khan are too busy being wined and dined by Mr. Warren at a swanky Mayfair restaurant. Benchwarmers FC. Yes, I have to say we are the reserves today, but the reserves have to get a chance at some point. All players in football teams were a reserve player at some point, and at some point they become key players. Maybe that will be today. What else do we have here? The boxing guru. Who are these two losers? There's a lot of insults flying around, not just me to Danny, but in the chat as well. It has to be said. Ramoni Mode XD says Frank addressed the app stuff on the Box Nation interview and laughed about it. Yeah, I did see that interview from Frank Warren on Box Nation. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult position to be in. I guess it's one of the only reactions you can really give in the situation. I guess at the time when DAZN first linked up with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, it was quite hard to see the foresight, quite hard to see it becoming the home of global boxing, which I think many people would say that it is now. So you can understand Frank Warren's opinions back then, especially considering the rivalry was then in play with the other promoters, most notably Eddie, of course. But with Turkey Al Sheikh being involved and the now seeming friendship between Matchroom and Queensberry, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, I think it's a completely different state of play. And with the amount of content, I've mentioned it a couple of times already on DAZN, there's a real case for saying that it's the place to be. Is it more valuable being on DAZN than it is being on Sky Sports?